to themselves or their community so that they can rejoin their families and help support their families. But they have to do this with some guidance. A review of the practices that became the policy at the start of America's war on drug enforcement, war on drug and enforcement effort. So these are the things that this bill, in the draft, we are composing. It'll have the usual form, a preamble, a body, enactment clauses, and so we have all of these things still in the drafting stage. But there will come a day when it is ready. Question?
Yeah, do you have a copy of that?
Not yet.
Okay.
Because it's not really ready for your consumption.
Oh,
It has to be ready for those who would introduce it to the powers that be. It has to be ready for the introducers. We can be the authors, but the introducers are the people who can bring it to the state House of Representatives, the state Senate, the U.S. Congress, the White House.
Oh yeah, well you know,
yes.
I think that it was said that, you know, we're coming together to try to look at create a bill. So
yes.
if I don't know where you're at, why it'll be like redundant. If I keep talking about some of the things you talk about, because you didn't. One thing I didn't hear you talk about,
yes.
because I missed it, was,
yes.
was training.
Well, that's
you know,
that's education. That's education. That's the thing that there needs to be an expanded budget for that. All right, and that's in and outside of institutions.
Education and training is two different things.
What? True.
Not really.
But I mean,
not
they.
really.
Oh, it's two
Well,
different things.
well,
Anyway.
Well, training is based on repetition. Education, expanding the mind, right? Building knowledge that wasn't there. All right, as you might be able to do in aviation, you can change someone's world in just one trip beside you, in the air and back. So you change their world completely. They're never the same. Okay, so those two things they go hand in hand, but they're not in a large enough amount where we have our young, where we have people who perhaps have not learned the lesson on how to contribute to society, because that's basically how we start out, wondering what should I do. So to answer your question, yes, education, expansion of the budget, millions of dollars that goes toward warehousing individuals has to go toward teaching these individuals, toward helping these individuals, toward helping them teach themselves, toward mental health counseling. As I think it was L.A. who said, or maybe Reverend Gann, who said that when you're in the system, no, it was yourself, who said when you're in the system, it makes an imprint on your mind. All right, and so you're that flea that won't jump out of the jar because the cap is still on when you get out.
Well,
yes.
one of the things.
Go ahead.
We
Yes.
see training.
Yes.
Like I received both.
Yes.
I was going to UMass and Boston University.
Yes.
And actually, when I came out on a halfway house,
Yes.
but that's one thing they don't have now. You go in, you go from prison,
Yes.
out on the street.
Yes.
But I went to halfway house. Now I was allowed to go on the campus of Commonwealth,
Yes.
Boston University, right?
Yes.
Also, but while I was in prison, I picked up a job as a machinist, machine tool technology, and I had a job as a prototype machinist when I was in the halfway house. I was making more money than the guy who was running the halfway house, right? So I'm not bragging, but what I'm saying is that made a big impact because education doesn't equate money to job. We say that, but that's not true. You know, training, whether it be computer engineering, computer science, actually using a computer, fixing cars, I mean, I can go on and on. Those produce jobs. Construction produce jobs, right? We have a saturated market in education. You know, that doesn't give you a benefit. It does expand your mind, but it doesn't give you the benefit of income, job, working to help your family, support your family, right? And it's a lot of need for basic things, right, in our community. And one thing that we were talking about, we were talking with you, I was talking with some other brothers, was nation building. You know, that's one step that we haven't got. Like this brother was talking about, that he had a house, that he was flipping a house for the first time. You know, I've done that too, but the thing is that doing that, you have to know something about how to build a house. You have to know about, you know, about how that whole industry works, you know, to build that, and how to get a house, you know, and so those type of things are a little bit different in education, you know. So by doing that and giving them something to work for, you know, I hope that that will help them. Now, I'm talking to some other brothers. We plan on doing a law that's very common law in Georgia. It's called a squatters law, or adverse property. And we're actually, it's so many thousands of homes in different places around Atlanta that's empty. So we're gonna go in there and take the house. And by Georgia law, squatters law, we can take that property. Now, what happens if they take the property? How many people I know that can build these houses? And then will they be willing to, like we used to do, teach one, right? You know, somebody come in and teach us about how to restore a house and how to build, and then they get an on-job training, and they come out and be able to teach one to do the same thing, you know, do a house for themselves. And that provides an economy, and that provides education, you know, that technical training. Yes. And I hope that will help move us along. But that's something. Go ahead, bro.
Hold on, he's going through the 7 points.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Well,
we're going to cover all of that. We're going to cover all of that.
We do feel though edified by what it is that you're offering. Okay, because that's something for consideration right there. Squatters law, you know, investigation of that, and also alliances. You know, what pops into my mind when you say that, some might not, disagree with it, is alliance with Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah.
Okay. They build from the ground up. So okay, we started in, and I'm going to let Relana go into information on the bill, petition, and the rest.
Thank you, sir.
What? Okay, and this is she's speaking of the structure of the bill.
Okay. So the Mark A. Rayner bill, it will have the usual form, number 1, preamble, 2, body enactment clause. We have all these features still in the drafting stage. The petition will follow the form 1, a front page, with our background statement, some pictures. 2, a brief summary, prices, statistics, and concerns. A signature page, asking for names, email addresses, and telephone numbers, comments, and a few survey questions with yes and no answers. Also, the committee handling the petition will conference and meet once per week. So we came all together today. We all came together today to come as one body. Like I said before, we all have our organizations, but we all work to help each other towards this one common goal, and that's to stop killing and stop violence, stop mass incarceration, and to help everyone, even the ones that are on the wrong side of the law. If we can get them to change their mindset and come and join forces, then that's one less person that's going to pick up a gun and kill somebody, take somebody's life. And I just want to make sure that we got everybody in here, because I see some faces that I might have not, may have not got a chance to speak. Yes,
I'll say something real quick.
Sure.
He had touched on mental illness, and I've been in a lot of meeting and discussions, and I ain't never heard this brought up. This is my partner and friend, Leonard Morgan, and he deal with veterans. Veterans and their family and kids got a lot of issue as well. And I would like him to get up and say a few words on that, because he's in
We love it. Okay, Leonard, here you are. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Hey, my name is Leonard Morgan. I was listening to various people coming up and the organizations that you had, and I finally got a chance to meet Reverend Grant. We spoke last week, right? You knew it was going to happen, didn't you? Okay. You know, and as I was listening to what happened is we're talking about the problem. We need to talk about the solution, right? You know, and we didn't get to where we are overnight. We got to where we are over 400 years. 400 years of being conditioned to dislike ourselves and people who look like us.
That's right.
See, when they put out the Willie Lynch theory,
Come on, Doc.
they did what they supposed to do.
Yeah.
They got us where we'll turn against each other. Ain't no white man came in my neighborhood and did nothing to me. What he has did is conditioned the people that look like me to do it to me. You see what I'm saying? So we have to come to a place where I don't even need this.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
We got to come to a place where we understand the truth about who we are. See, what the truth is, this country is built on a lie.
All right.
That's
We got a country, we living in a country that was taken over by somebody else, and then they went to the West Coast and took that from the Mexicans, the same Mexicans that they want to build a wall to keep them out the land they brought from. And then they brought us over here to work 400 years for free. They said we lazy. I say we're tired.
Come on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I work for you 400 years,
Free,
there you go.
free.
By all ranks, you should prosper.
Right,
You know what I mean? You should prosper. So the thing about it is this, right? He spoke about mental illness a couple times, right?
Yes.
If you control the way a person thinks, you control that person.
All right.
Now check this out. I got some information where they say that that trauma is intertwined with black people DNA. Ain't nobody else walk down the street seeing their people hanging from no tree. Have people to come in their house and rape their moms and stuff like that, right? And it's in our DNA. It's passed down by generation and generation. We ain't talking about Jim Crow. Jim Crow took over for slavery. It's the same thing. How can we make up 12% of the American society, yet we make up 67% of the penal system?
85.
You got to know the numbers, man. You see what I'm saying? So, as we're having these meetings, or we're coming together, we're building these organizations, what is missing is the unity.
Right.
And a platform to operate from. All right? See, one of the things that the vision that God gave me, he gave me a platform where I can bring you, and you on, and we can work together, and where we can have an impact.
Right.
Because you in Chicago, you over here, we ain't gonna get it done that way. See, one of the things that in that conditioning that we have never been able to overcome is not only the dislike for each other, but we don't respect each other. And we don't trust each other. So every time I get someone worried about you trying to take it, right? You know, so my thing is this, y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's our time.
That's right. Right.
It's our time.
Amen.
It's only our time if we seize the opportunity.
Right.
Say that.
You see what I'm saying? Because, see, the real deal is this right here. The truth is coming out.
Right.
Gorbachev said this about America. He said America will fall without one shot being fired because it will implode. We're looking at an implosion.
Right. Right.
You see what I'm saying? So, and we live in the information stage. There's a thing on YouTube, it's called D. Lee, Still Our Slaves. And they talk about how we are selfish, how we'll spend money and let people come in our community, right? When foreigners come to America and they looking for the American dream, they don't go in the white folks community. They don't go in the Mexican community. Guess what they come? They go in your community, man.
Right.
Take your money, your resources, educate their children, live good, and we hate on each other. What do they do that for?
Come on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we got to learn that, right? We're some very broken people. Very deeply broken. And mental health is a part of that. So unless we start to heal from the inside out, we ain't gonna never make no strides in society. You know, it don't matter how many meetings we have.
Right.
When I leave and you talk about you don't like what I said or the way I dress.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We got to learn how to love each other. I got to be able to walk up to you and say, look at him, you my brother, I need you.
That's right.
Without you, it ain't no me.
Right.
Come
You
on
know
now.
what I'm saying? And I got to be able to look you in the eye. How many times you walk down the street and you can't even look another black person in the eye? Male or female? You see what I'm saying? Something wrong with that, man.
Ain't gonna be
Something wrong with that. So this is the thing. Check this out. Check this out. God has given me the ability to create 2 platforms. One for the military and one in the community. Dealing with education and awareness on mental health.
Yes, yes.
You see what I'm saying?
So needed. Yes.
So that we can get to the crutch of the situation, right? Because it ain't gonna change overnight, right?
Right.
We talking about how our youth has got what they did. Listen what Willie Lynch said. He said you take the least of the 2 vessels. If you can control her, you will control the child. You see what I'm saying? So you're looking at that right now. We talking about role reversal in our community. Well, the woman is the man, and the man is the woman, and everybody all right.
Yeah. Right.
Come on, you tell me.
Yeah.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that.
So we got to do something different if we're gonna try to get something different. You know, and it starts with us.
Yeah.
Everybody on this side right here, it starts with us. You know what I'm saying? It's time we quit being cowards.
Say that, Doc.
It's time we quit being cowards. See, the real deal is this here. There's no consequences for your behavior. You'll keep doing what you do.
That's so right.
You know what I'm saying?
Say that one more time.
You hear me?
That's it.
So, you know, and I was sitting back there listening. Not judgment, not criticism, none of that, right? Because, see, I'm a solution-oriented individual. You know, and I heard the bill that you're trying to get passed. You know what I'm saying? And I know what that political plight is like.
Yes.
I've been dealing with the VA. I've been dealing with the representatives in the state. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the reality to it is this right here. They do not control our destiny. We do.
We do.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, before I keep talking, because I can do that.
Yeah.
You know,
We
the one
enjoying
thing
it.
about it
Thank
is
you
this
so
right
much.
here, right? It's about walking in truth. And be real careful about what you read. Because when they brought us over here, right, they denied us to read. The first thing they gave us was to what? I'm going to go up and sit
I just wanted to add something though.
Yes.
What your history is.
Y'all know that God has a plan also.
Oh, come on, you know that.
And that plan that God has includes our people, and it's gonna come to pass regardless.
Yeah.
Hello, thanks for inviting me. My name is Monteria Robinson. I'm not sure if you all know my story. My son's name is Jamarian Robinson. He was killed here in Atlanta August the 5th of last year, 2016. My son was actually killed by U.S. Marshals in East Point, Georgia. He was shot 76 times, meaning 76 bullets entered his body. And my son also suffered with a mental health issue. And they were aware that my son suffered from a mental health issue. But when they portrayed it on the news on August the 5th, they portrayed, because a lot of people always say to me, oh, I've never heard of this story before. Why? Because they portrayed it to be a shootout. They stated that my son had a shootout with police. But me and my family, I know my son. My son is a student athlete he was a student athlete at Tuskegee University. He had just registered for school. He was going back to complete his last semester. He was a biology major. He played football for Tuskegee University. Just because he suffered from a mental illness did not mean he didn't have dreams or aspirations, right?
There you go.
With that being said, the day that my son was killed, my mother and my brother, they arrived to the scene of the incident, and when my mother got there, she was just hysterical, as any grandmother would be, and she was asking them, why would you all do something like this? You know, my grandson suffered from a mental illness, etc., etc. And then they said to her, well, we were looking for him from a week ago. He pointed a gun at a police officer and took off running. And then they showed her a photo, like here he is right here, basically. And she said, no, that's not my grandson. And then my brother said, no, that's not my nephew. And then my other brother said, no, that's not my nephew. He looks like me. And then my brother flipped out his cell phone to show her what my son actually looked like. And she said, oh, can I, and she was a GBI lady, she said, can I get that photo of him? And so my brother gave her the photo, dropped it to her phone, and then that night on the news, they showed my son's photo that my brother had just given her, which was like 2 days or a day old of my son. So no one had that photo but my brother. But they took that photo, dropped it on the news that night, and they said East Point man had a shootout with police. And I said, my son, he's quiet, he don't bother anyone, he loves kids. So me and my family, we knew it wasn't true. So I, as his mother, I had to prove his narrative. Because I said, you have to come with a better narrative than that.
Right.
So what I ended up doing, I hired, me and my family, we hired an investigator, we hired a ballistic person, and we also hired a forensic pathologist. A forensic pathologist can tell you basically what happened from the beginning to the end. And so on the news, they said, right, it was a shootout, remember? So my son was supposedly had a gun, is what they were saying. So I'm gonna go back after they. My sister did call the GBI lady like several days after the shooting, and she said, "So you're saying that my nephew had a shootout with police?" And the GBI lady said, "Well, a gun was found on the scene, but I don't know who shot it, right?" And so with that being said, we moved forward. We hired the investigator. We hired the forensic person as well as the ballistic person. So when we got back the investigative report from the investigator, come to find out when he did the walkthrough of his girlfriend's apartment, because my son was inside his girlfriend's apartment when the incident occurred, come to find out someone recorded the outside of the whole incident. And so when you see the video, so when we got the video, you know, we blew it up on the big TV. And you know, my family, my son comes from a 4th-generation military family. So my family being military people, we all sitting there like we are now, and we watched it. And so all you hear is, it just went like this. They, as soon as they burst the door open, they start yelling the lingo that they use when they approach us. Put the gun down, put the gun down. Pow, 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 pow. Pause. You just hear machine guns going off. And then they say it again. Put the gun down, put the gun down. Pow, 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 pow. Pause. Pow, 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 pow. Pause. And then you hear pop, 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 right? 74, 75, 76. So my investigator, actually after they shot my son 76 times, they handcuffed him and they drug him down the flight of stairs, number one. When my investigator went in, he found my son died upstairs in the foyer upstairs in that area. So after they shot him, they handcuffed him, they drug his body down the flight of stairs. But when he died upstairs, you know, most of his blood, the pool of his blood was right there on the staircase. And my investigator cut that carpet out, and there he found 2 more bullets. Those were bullets where somebody stood over my son and shot down into his body. And then after they shot him that many times, they threw flashbang grenades that landed on his body, right? That's not all. Oh, wow, it's a lot. So with that being said, after the forensic pathologist came back with his findings, he said, Mom, he called me Mom. He said, well, first off, you know, your son, Jamarian Robinson, didn't have anything in his hands. He said, because number one, he was shot 6 times in the palm of his right hand and 5 times in the palm of his left hand. I said, I knew that, but I just wanted to prove my narrative, because I know my son loved children. You know, if he would have been here today, he would be running around playing with the kids. You know, he always, even when he was in college, like after his football games, he would always invite his friends to come after the games, and we would go to dinner, eat. You know, he was like, come on, my mom will pay for us, and we all go sit down and eat or what have you. And sometimes when we would go out to dinner and we see homeless people, my son would be say, hey, are you hungry? You want me to buy you something to eat? He would just do those kind of things. So when they came with their narrative that my son had a shootout, me and my sisters, my brothers, my mom, we all knew it was a lie. Because don't you all remember the Katherine Johnson story? It's the same scenario. So with that being said, you know, I'm going to be having a national, I've been doing a lot of media, radio. I don't know if any of you guys have heard my story, but August the 5th of this year was my son's 1-year anniversary. So I had been doing like a lot of press conferences, radio. But the thing is, being that this happened a year ago, this story should have been national news. Because you all have never heard of anyone being shot before 76 times. So people are like, why are you still marching and protesting at 1 year after this has happened? So what I had to end up doing is releasing my current attorney, which is, because really it's about politics here in Atlanta, you know, and it's like they want to, it's been so many killings here in Atlanta about police brutality that they've been basically sweeping them under the rug. You got Nicholas Thomas, you got Alexa Christian, you got Troy Robinson. I could just go on and on. King Rogers, Anthony Hill, so on and so forth. But what they don't want, you know, because everybody say, oh, Atlanta is the black Mecca. No, it's not. They're killing our kids here too in Atlanta. And so I was like, with my son's story, this is the time. The movement has begun.
Right.
So what we're going to be doing in a couple of weeks, probably about 3 weeks, we're going to have a national press conference. I'm going to invite all of you all out to come and stand in solidarity with myself as well as my family. So the many people we can get to come out and join us would be awesome. And then following that, in October the 20th through the 23rd, there's going to be Enough is Enough, where we're going to do a silent march as well as we're going to shut the city of Atlanta down. I got people coming from all over. You know, people have been, you know, sharing my story. You know, that's got 2.2 million followers. I've been doing a lot of people are reaching out to me from other states that's just now finding out about my son's story. So I've been getting, you know, a lot of radio, news, a lot of different things. People are really reaching out to me because I was like, now is the time. The movement has begun. It's going to start with Jamarian's story. I want it to be a household name because when do we say enough is enough? Right. You follow me? When do we say enough is enough? And I thank you all for listening. Let me share my story. And I got some flyers and social media stuff where you guys can follow us, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, you know, I've heard your story. You know, I've heard a story over the last year. And nobody's showed any interest in this. Nobody in the federal group, right? And one thing I say about her story is heartbreaking to me. It's consistent. I've never heard her falter. And she took it out of her own pocket. She broke her and her family. You hired that forensic person to come in there and study the scene. So she knew her child, and it turned out everything she said was correct. You know, and she does need that support. I always stand behind her sometimes because she gets very emotional. I get very emotional, right? That's all we just about. We're trying to take. But if y'all can help support her, like you said, and come out, you know, that'd be very great, though. But you know, one thing I want to say, you know, certain communities, they come in, right? It's communities that we don't have control over. We don't have control over our kids, right? When they come in that community, they come in armed. I don't care if they're black cop, white cop, Spanish cop. They come in one thing, they got killing on their mind. They think they're going to get killed. And they be saying, I'm scared. Well, they shouldn't be on their job. You're scared. That's your job. That's right. But you know, if you live in a affluent community, they're very less likely to come in there with guns blazing. You know, you might be one of the sinners or something like that. Even though you're black, they still going to try to harm you. But it's just a thing. We can't control our communities. We can stop not only the violence in our community, we stop the police from coming in and committing this insanity and this violence upon us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay. My mother's gonna say
I'm kind of like Pastor Gann. I'm not one for getting up talking in front, but I'm getting a little powerful behind the scene. But in front of the scene, I push my door. She goes up front. But anyway, I mean, oh my God, this story of yours, my heart just bleeds and go out to you. God is with you. I want you to stay as strong as you can. Continue to do what you're doing. That's the key of it all. If you fight back the way you're doing, your son won't have died in vain. Exactly. You know, but this was so horrific. I can't even. It's got me shaking. You know, and I lost my son several years ago. And I shake for it every night. You know, and to hear, you know, it's just been a year for you, and your son is working with you because his spirit is there. Because for you to be able to stand up and even speak on something like this, it don't even seem real. You know, it's like something you'd hear in a movie or something that,
and I have
you
to
know.
be his voice. You know, I always say that. That makes me strong.
That's right.
You know?
Keep his picture right by you. He's giving you the strength and everything you need, and then you're helping the world. So it's a world cause. Like my daughter and I with my son and the loss of, you know, everybody else's losses, you know, as long as you keep it pushing out there,
That's right.
you know, that's how you fight back.
Right, exactly.
You know, and you won't
exactly.
retreat and go into like a
Right.
depression and
Right.
never come back out.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's the stuff that causes mental illness.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
You know,
right.
I mean, we all victims, they can become victims of that
Right.
with some of the crazy stuff that happens in our life,
Right,
you know.
That's right.
So, you know, I just want to say we just thank everybody for coming and everything. I'm so glad to see you, LA. You know, and
Yes,
we
we
just love everybody. There's refreshments over in the back after Relana gets finished with her last words, and help yourself to, you know, pizza, eat as much as you want. There was a couple of things we were going to add.
Yes.
But I'm just still trembling from that story. So it's like, and LA's the stuff he said.
Yes, right,
oh my
right.
God, you know. But God is good, and we're gonna stay focused and stay strong, and with all these strong, powerful men in the house and our
Right,
pastors.
absolutely.
Hey, we can't go wrong.
That's
you know,
right.
God up in heaven helping us. So it's a good thing.
It truly is.
But that's all, you know, that I can say right now. But I did want to mention one thing about our donations, our selling of our T-shirts. They're $20 and $25. We're getting ready to get up our fundraisers and try to get that stuff rolling. And we're just, you know, trying to do everything we can to make things happen. We're hoping, or soon we'll be opening up our Mark Rayner Scholarship Fund, our boxing academy.
Yes, Market Academy of
Market,
Boxing.
yes.
Okay.
And then we also have an entertainment company, which is music. So we're looking for a building that we can have both of those things in, you know. So
Absolutely.
so we're on the road, and you know, through the grace of God, with everybody. Yes.
I just got to talk to the phone.
Oh, okay, okay, all right. And anybody that need T-shirts, we have some here. I mean, I don't have a problem with giving you a couple of them until the next time I see you. No problem. I have a lot of big sizes I kind of got stuck with, but you know, whatever. You know, we're here to help.
Absolutely.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And,
Thanks again, Pastor Barker.
Yes. And again, I just want to reiterate what my mother was saying. We just thank all of you for coming out this evening. Like I said, all of us being together collectively is very strong and very powerful. We have a lot to do, a lot of ground to cover, but we can do it. We can do it together. And everything that we've talked about this evening, I take it to heart. Again, Ms. Robinson, I want to offer you my condolences
thank
on your
you.
son. God bless you.
Thank
And
you.
anything that we can do together,
Okay.
you just let us know.
I
It's not even a
will.
word. We're there.
Okay,
Okay? We love you and God
I love
bless
you
you.
too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And just to everybody, Reverend Gann, I want to thank you so much. Everybody is just feeling the love in here today, and we're all here for the same thing. And you've brought so much to the table as far as your compassion for our communities and worldwide. There's so much knowledge that you have. And when I sit with you and talk to you, I always learn more and more. So I thank you and we love you. Yes. Pastor Barker, I want to thank you so much. You are just the best. And from the moment that we met, we had a natural connection and chemistry.
Amen.
And we just love you and thank you so much. LA, you are truly the best. You know, from the moment that we met, it was embracing. Ken Wardo, the same thing. Cedric Sims, same thing. I love you all and I thank you all so much for being